Right now, we are waiting for Independence Police to give us an update on that shooting at the Independence Center that happened a little bit earlier. 4 people were shot. We do know that so far right now. I am going to take a live listen in to see exactly what the update is.
Shortly after 2:20, officers responded out here to the mall and reports to shots being fired inside the mall. When officers arrived out here at the scene, we discovered 4 victims here at the mall suffering from gunshot wounds. They were transported to a local hospital. The investigation is still ongoing as far as to what happened, but best we can tell at this point is that there were 2 individual groups of people who had met up here at the mall at some point and had some sort of interaction. We're still trying to determine what that interaction was and what the relationship was between these 2 people, or these 2 groups of people. But at some point, shots were fired between those 2 groups, resulting in the injuries. So right now, status-wise, with our victims, we have 1 in critical condition. We have 3 that vary from what I would call serious condition to non-life-threatening. So that's kind of where we're at this point. We do have some persons of interest in custody related to this. Again, this is an ongoing investigation, so we're still trying to work through how those people were related and how they were involved and things like that. So that's what we have at this point.
So there were 2 groups firing at each other.
Correct.
There was a crossfire, and is that how people got caught in it?
Yeah, that's kind of what we're hearing at this point. Again, we're still trying to piece together the details, but in generality, yeah, that's what had happened.
Innocent bystanders or people from the groups like that?
Again, we're detail-wise, I'm not real sure. I'm thinking that maybe it was 2 groups, and the victims were involved with those groups. But again, I just don't know for sure until the investigation goes farther.
So, there oftentimes a rumor mill goes around with this, right? And there are multiple people telling us that someone who worked in one of the stores who saw it, but we haven't spoken to that person directly, that there was a pregnant woman who was shot. And she was shot in the head. Obviously, you won't know all the details about the nature of the injuries, but do you know if there was a pregnant woman who was one of the victims?
At this point, I really don't want to disclose anything personal about the victims. I will say that one of the victims was female. As the investigation goes on, maybe we can release more details as time moves on a little bit, but I just don't want to get into personal things about the victim at this point.
You said you have some persons of interest in custody. Do you feel like you have everyone in custody who is a threat?
At this point, we're not sure. Okay, we do have some people in custody. We don't know what role they played. We're still working to see if there's other people that we need to be looking for.
2 or 3 in custody?
I believe there are 3.
Can you share the ages of the victims?
I don't have the ages. I believe they're adults, but I don't have the ages.
Do you know how many people you have in custody?
3.
Jack, witnesses said that police were slow to get here. How can that happen when you have a substation here?
So I don't know what our response time was. I don't know when the first officer arrived on the scene. Our substation today, actually because of the holiday, that officer is not here today because it's Veterans Day being observed today. So we did have an officer here that was working in one of the stores that arrived on the scene almost immediately after the call came in. So I don't know, what was said about the delay, but we did have an officer here at the mall at the time.
Someone also indicated that one of the victims was a security guard. Do you know if any of those shot were employees?
I have not been told that anybody's an employee, no.
Officer Taylor, we kind of recently came on. Can you recap for our viewers exactly what happened out here today?
Sure. So around 2:20, we responded out here to the mall on a shooting. When we arrived on the scene, we determined that there were 4 victims that had been shot. Those victims were transported to a local hospital where they were treated for their injuries. One of those victims sustained critical injuries, and they're being worked through with that. So as far as suspects go on this, we do have, we have 3 persons of interest in custody. Right now we're just kind of working through what their involvement was. I don't know if you were here when I talked earlier, but it looks like through the investigation, and it's still ongoing, but right now kind of what we have is that two groups of people, it appears that they had some kind of interaction right inside the mall, and shots were fired. I don't know what the discussion was. I don't know what the interaction was at this point, but those two groups of people met up, and that's how the shooting happened.
This is not the first time that something like this has happened at Independence Center. In my years here, I remember, just my recollection, at least 2 other times, and it was disputes between people. How can this keep happening? I know the mall has done some things to try to tamp down on this.
Yeah, so the mall has increased security. They've put in video cameras. They've done some other things around the mall. But it's I think we see it out not just at the mall, but other places around the city as well, where people get into disturbances and they're real quick to pull firearms to try to settle those disputes. And I think this just happens to be a place where people gather, and so those disputes happen to pop up here.
We know there was a reunification spot set up over
Correct.
there. Can you tell us about what was going on in the immediate moments afterwards? If malls or stores were closing their doors, if folks running, trying to get out, where people ended up after this happened?
Sure, yeah, the stores had closed. They had followed their response for shooting type situations here at the mall. And we had the parking lots and everything shut down here. So there was no way for cars to get in to pick up loved ones or anything like that. So once we started clearing those stores, after the situation stabilized here, obviously people were wanting to, come pick up, whoever here at the mall, but they couldn't come in here to do it. And so we had to determine a location to where that was safe for them to do, and so that was the purpose of picking the car wash, because it was close to 39th Street. It wasn't inside our perimeter where people had to drive or had to get to, and it was within easy walking distance for people inside the mall to get out there. So.
And witnesses described to us situations of kids being separated from parents, things like that. Is there anything that you're aware of, or sad thing that happens?
It's unfortunate that it happens, but on an event like this, I could see that happening, because people are trying to get to safety as quick as they can, and that may not be where a family stays together. One person may be in this store, one person may be in this store, and it's just the response is to try to get someplace as quickly as you can and get that secured. So.
Can you speak to how frustrating it is to respond to a shooting at a place where people and families come together?
Well, yeah, it is frustrating, because you have this happen, and there's many people around that could become victims, and it's not just, the dispute doesn't stay just with those people, with that group of people, right? It has the potential to affect people that don't have anything to do with that initial dispute. So it is frustrating that happens.
Were all the persons of interest taken into custody inside the mall?
I believe they were taken into custody out here on 39th Street, but I'm not 100% sure on the location.
So one person's still on the loose. What should the general...
Well, I don't know if anybody is still on the loose.
You said there were 4 people and you have 3 in custody.
Oh, I'm sorry, there's 3 in custody, yeah. We do have 3. I don't know that we're looking for anyone else, so yeah.
Can you tell me what people need to know about mall operations going forward? I would assume the mall will be closed tonight, but one of the employees told me that they will be reopening.
Yeah, so I don't know what the mall has planned. I can't speak on their behalf, obviously, because I don't know what they have going on. I know the area where we're working the scene is going to be closed yet for quite some time. As far as the rest of the mall goes, they would have to speak on that.
And what area is that?
So it's the area right inside the 39th Street entrance here. So
on the 2nd level, right?
Yeah, it would be the main level here. So the ground level, I guess I would say. Yeah.
Okay. How long do you think it will take you to process the scene?
Our crime scene unit will be out here taking some pictures, doing measurements, things like that they normally do at a scene. And as soon as they get that wrapped up, we should be able to start clearing that out. So.
Do we know if any gunshots were fired by anyone in private security?
I don't have any of that information. I don't believe so, but I haven't heard anybody say that. So
it's fair to say they were taken into custody outside of the Independence Center?
Correct. All right, anything else? All right, thank you, guys.
Thanks for your time.
Yep.
Jack,
Sir.
I misheard I want to make sure I got
Yeah.
Okay, again, I just want to go over a few details. It looks like the mall is open. Some people are starting to walk back in there. But if you joined this live stream just a little bit late, I do want to go over a few details that the PIO just touched on. Jack Taylor with the Independence Police Department. He said that police responded at around 2:20 today, and when they arrived, 4 victims were there. They do know that 2 groups had an interaction. Now, as far as what the interaction was, they're not too sure, but they also said they're not too sure about the relationship that those 2 groups had with one another. But again, 4 people shot. We don't know their identities right now as to who they are, their names, or their ages, but we do know that 1 is in critical condition. 3 vary from serious to non-life threatening. All 4 were transported to a local hospital, and they do have people of interest in custody. 3 in total. That's what we just heard from the PIO Jack Taylor there from the Independence Police Department. Again, want to take another live look at the center right now. Like I said, it looks like the mall is back open. People were just walking back in. This looks like Dick's Sporting Goods. As far as an update on that, we're not exactly sure, but again, we did witness an emotional reunion from a mother and daughter. Betsy Webster had that during our newscast, and we'll be sure to show that again later during our evening newscast as well. So be sure to tune into that. But that daughter said that she was inside working, and the mother received a phone call from her saying that she was okay, and she was concerned as to why you would not be okay when you're at work. But like the daughter also mentioned, she's been in training for active shooter situations since the age of 5, and that's not a situation that a lot of people can just mentally prepare themselves for. And as we witnessed that emotional reunion, we got it all on camera. Betsy Webster did, and it was heartbreaking to watch. And the mother repeatedly continued to ask her daughter if she was okay, and her daughter said, "I'm okay, Mom." Again, going over those details of what we know, I do want to take a look at our website right now. The Independence Police Department, they did say that there is a meeting spot at the northeast corner of the mall parking lot near the Club Car Wash for anyone looking to pick up their family members and friends. That's where we will find KCTV5's Mark Paulos. We'll continue to hear from him throughout the evening as well. And then police are also asking the public to stop calling 911 asking about the incident. Us here at KCTV5, we will continue to keep you all posted on the latest developments. But I also want to take a look at this quote that we have coming in from Mayor Quentin Lucas via social media platform X, formerly known as Twitter. And basically he just says, are we ready to admit that it's easily accessibility for guns, or will we blame every cable news talking point about urban cities, which this is not that we can? The Independence Center Mall said that they cannot comment on the issue at this time. But again, we did just hear from the PIO of the Independence Police Department, and we will continue to hear from people as this is still a developing investigation, an ongoing investigation, I should say, and it's still in the early stages. But I do want to go back to this live shot and just mention the fact that it looks like the mall is back open. We do know police said that it is stable as of right now, and we are still getting updates minute by minute. And as we get new video, as we hear from new people, witnesses who were inside, family members who were waiting for their family who are waiting for their loved ones to come out of the mall, we will be sure to push that out to the public to let you all know. But as of right now, that is all that we know so far. Again, taking a look at our website, you can keep up with the latest updates by heading to our website, kctv5.com. That's where you'll find this red banner right at the top, 4 people shot at Independence Center. And we'll continue to update this as new developments come into the KCTV5 newsroom. Again, I'm going to leave you all with this live shot looking at the Independence Center right now, where 4 people were shot at around 2 o'clock earlier today.